The film begins in the year 2150, where we see a group of people attempting to save themselves from a menacing threat. They continuously shoot at an entity, which turns out to be a creature known as Sentinel. Despite their efforts, their shots don't seem to harm the creature, and it continues to overpower them. Commander Jared's wife and young son also try to stay together. They manage to escape the warehouse they were previously in, but outside, Sentinel attacks fiercely. Jared feels compelled to at least save his young son. He hands his chain to the nanny and instructs her to take the child away, while the parents stay behind to confront the creature. Unfortunately, they both die, and we see Sentinel taking over the Earth. The scene then shifts to a mining center on the moon. 40 years later, the mission's chief receives a message from the president to contact 3 chosen individuals. We see one of the chosen ones, Robin, who was in a romantic moment with a girl when she was notified of her selection. Elsewhere, a guy named Jared, the commander's son, is also informed of his selection. However, when they try to contact the 4th chosen person from the system room, he doesn't answer his calls. We see him drinking in a bar, and a woman arrives to meet him in person and inform him of his selection. In the next scene, all of them are gathered in the system room where they are briefed. They are humanity's last hope. They will be returning to Earth to stop the invasion and save the planet. Initially, they are hesitant to agree, but eventually do. They are then given a special suit called Bebop. Damon recognizes it quickly and excitedly tells the others that Bebop is a bionically enhanced body protection system. Once it's given a command, Bebop will protect the person from bullets, small lasers, biological chemicals, and radiation. After they understand the mission, which is to return to Earth, defeat Sentinel, and save Earth from the invasion, the chief explains that the creature originally used a portal for the invasion. The trio's target is right in the middle of that first electric storm. The portal is still guarded by Sentinel, and the trio will have to confront him eventually. After the briefing, they are quickly boarded onto their aircraft. They depart through space and the moon to reach Earth, and meanwhile, at the mining base, the scientists receive a call from the overall president in space, the governor. He congratulates humanity on their hope of reclaiming Earth and praises the 3 heroes who will be responsible for restoring it for them. Humans have already built a civilization on the moon, but of course, they need to stop hiding from Sentinel once and for all. Back on the ship, the trio also hears the president's message and keeps their spirits high. Jared is the one piloting, and Damon and Robin rest for a while as he takes over, but he changes the plan too quickly and alerts them that he hacked the AI. Robin loses her temper as to how he could do such a thing, but he tells her to trust him as he is following the real mission. The chief then connects with them on the signal and tells them they will be traveling back in time using Earth's gravity and using the portal to reach it. However, they would have to inject themselves with a neutron bouncer in order not to get squashed as they travel. Jared starts and takes it, and the others take it too, after hesitating at first. After that, the energy quickly starts to compress the ship and the people inside it. Of course, they have put on an oxygen helmet, and the base is regulating their pressure level, but they still struggle to breathe. They successfully create the needed amount of gravitational force on the ship, which makes the craft travel faster than the speed of light. Finally, they enter the Earth's atmosphere, and the chief back on the moon base loses their signal. He consults with the mission's assistant and realizes the governor could sabotage the mission. Back on Earth, Jared wakes up from the ship and finds himself in a confined place. He commands Bebop to light and scan the place, and the suit does so. He looks around the place, but only finds it abandoned and a dirty hole. He calls out to Damon and Robin through their signal, but they are both unreachable and unresponsive. At the moon base, the president again appears on the screen and announces the tragic demise of the 3 heroes and the failure of the mission, but the chief realizes it as a scam, and the video was pre-recorded. The president really doesn't want to save mankind from Sentinel, but he just wants to stay in power by governing them on the moon, as he likes it like this. The chief then understood they again will come after them in order to shut down the mission. He orders his assistant to seal the door and copy everything on their hard drives and to find another base for them. On Earth, we see Damon waking up from his unconsciousness. He knew he was on a different timeline, and the portal was open above the skies. He then enters the fortress he sees up front, and in the meantime, we understand that this fortress is where Sentinel opened the first energy portal. So this means all 3 of them are in one location to face Sentinel. He uses Bebop's laser to move ahead, but the energy triggers Sentinel that dwells in the undergrounds of the fortress. Damon still tries to communicate with Jared and Robin, but still, the signal couldn't enable him to reach them, so he kept leaving marks of his name on the walls to let them know he was here. Back at the base, the president has sent his troops to capture the scientists, and chaos ensues between the two. Elsewhere, Robin wakes up in a different place other than Damon and Jared. She manages to stabilize her breathing and heads into the main city. As she goes further, she finds skulls of bodies and deformed figures in the car. As she approaches one, the figure grabs her suddenly and alerts other zombies around the place. One quickly approaches the car she was stuck at, and it attacks her, taking her down to the ground. She tries to fight it off, but her command to Bebop to destroy the man only rescues her by shooting at the target. She stands up, breathing heavily, and escapes the place. The film continues with Damon and Jared inside a fortress, realizing they're in the same building after hearing each other's voices. As Damon moves towards Jared, Jared notices a woman in the hallway. As he approaches her, his scanner identifies her as a living being. However, when he gets close enough, the woman sees him, and this vision is transmitted to Sentinel, awakening it. The woman starts screaming, alerting the remaining zombies. As the grotesque creatures rush towards him, Jared quickly hides behind a door and seals it. Meanwhile, Damon hears the screams and tries to find out what's happening. He's unsuccessful, but the event fully awakens Sentinel, who was guarding the portal. Sentinel puts on his mask before going out to hunt the intruders. Meanwhile, Jared comes out and continues his search, but is soon confronted by Sentinel, who punches him in the face. However, the punch is powerful enough to break a gas tank next to Jared, giving him a chance to save himself. While Sentinel is fixing the tank, Jared escapes and is found by a woman who tells him to be quiet and come with her. He quickly does so, and they go unnoticed by Sentinel. Outside, Robin finds a motorbike in a garage. She drives it and heads straight to the fortress, using the lighting above it as a GPS. Back at the moon, the team has abandoned their base and are now in lower level bars. They discuss their next steps to save the trio. The bar owner is a friend of Damon, so he agrees to help them retrieve them and save humanity's fate. A hacker even volunteers to find the signal and locations of the trio. At the fortress, Jared is brought to the commander who rules the surviving humans. The woman who took him there treats him as a captive, but Jared quickly realizes the commander is his father. In fact, they have the same chain necklaces on. But the father has no idea his son traveled back in time to stop this invasion. Jared confesses he is from the moon base, and his suits and gun are more technologically advanced than the others know. But they don't believe him for now, and the commanders order him to just follow orders and not try to be a hero. But as Jared explains, he wants to kill Sentinel, as it has killed his family. The commander lets him join them as a team member. Shortly, we see Robin arriving at the fortress, and she starts to get signals from Damon and Jared. Inside, the commander's team, along with Jared, start their hunt to kill Sentinel. After some searching, they come across a glass container holding people inside. These are all captives of Sentinel, and he is keeping them confined as he plans to infect them too. His plan is to make them his army. The commander orders his team to try to rescue the people inside, but shortly the container lowers underground and Sentinel is alerted to their movement, leading him to take action. Back at the moon, the chief doctor was able to retrieve the signal using the skills of the hacker, and now they are back online. So now they can see the vital information about the exact locations and timing of the trio. It is then revealed that even Jared and Damon have a 20-year difference in time travel, and they are not in the same timeline. Robin's location is still unknown. At the fortress, Sentinel has let go of his zombies to kill the people, and now the commander is standing still to fight them off. The scenery is familiar as we were introduced to it in the beginning. The shooting ensues, and they open fire on the creatures. A lot of them were dead, but they were greater in numbers, leading the commander's team to keep shooting for some time, and in the meantime, the other people were rescued from the glass container. Jared's mother comes out of it holding him as a baby, and they shortly reunite. Jared sees this but doesn't say anything to his parents. Instead, he stays behind with the troops to face the final creature, Sentinel. Back at Damon, not knowing he isn't in the same timeline as his friends, keeps calling out for them. Robin also was calling out for him after hearing his voice, but he couldn't hear her back. He loses hope somehow and thinks the mission is seriously compromised. Robin keeps shouting out for him, as failure isn't an option, but he couldn't hear that either. However, he changes his mind shortly when thinking about the doctor being able to retrieve him, and Robin gets relief, and she thought he would end his life. Back inside in a different timeline, Sentinel has faced the team, and Jared knows this is the part where his parents get killed. But the team didn't stop attacking Sentinel, and he also electrocuted them to death. Several troops were killed in the process, as Sentinel's power is enormous. But when Jared sees this, he decides to sacrifice himself and call out to Sentinel to face him. While doing so, the commander was fighting off with the creature, so this gave him a chance to escape and run with his wife and child. Unlike the original outcome, which led to his and his wife's demise, this time around, Jared managed to turn Sentinel's attention to him. Elsewhere, Damon and Robin face Sentinel in different places in different timelines. The signal is retrieved for Robin, so now the Doctor tells her she is alone to defeat him in this timeline. She shortly places her lasers hidden, where Sentinel couldn't see them, and silently waits for him to show up. As for Damon, he faces Sentinel in his timeline, but is shortly overpowered by him. Sentinel's major source of power is the weapon on his arm, and with that, he has conquered Damon. Back at the fortress in Jared's timeline, he quickly gets attacked multiple times, and he is now burned by Sentinel's weapon. He drops his neck chains given by his father, and this enrages him to finish off the creature once and for all. He finally decided to blow himself up along with Sentinel, and does so, he successfully ends the lives of both, and this results in Sentinel's weapon disappearing for his future selves. Back at Robin, Sentinel's weapon disappears as Jared has killed it in a previous time, so now Robin and Damon get a chance to take power in the fight. But Robin gets overpowered in the process, and it's now up to Damon to finish him off to help Robin survive and not get killed by Sentinel in her timeline. Damon continues to shoot at the creature multiple times, and this makes Sentinel's attack be hindered in Robin's timeline. Damon finishes him off in the final years, but Sentinel is still surviving in her timeline. In the moment of truth, Damon himself shows up from the back, and this time, Sentinel escapes from them. As we can see, Damon is now grey and old, and he has been waiting additional years to help Robin defeat the creature. Unfortunately, they didn't defeat it, and he actually went to his energy base to open the portal to travel to space. Shortly afterward, his portal launches, and he arrives at the moon. The president, including all the population in the bar, is shocked as they realize Sentinel is here for them. He makes his grand entrance, and now starts killing everybody on his way. Sentinel is far more powerful, but the bar owner brought a much heavier weapon to finish him off in the present time. He strikes him in the heart, and Sentinel is finally down on the ground. The people celebrate in happiness, and the symbolic president keeps his calm to announce the news on the screen. In the meantime, on Earth, Damon and Robin take a rest from the exhausting journey and catch their breath. The movie concludes as we see them both decide to go back in time once again, and this time, it is to save Jared. And with that, the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.